Check, check. All right. So I haven't had a ton of time lately, because I have grad school and jobs and stuff. So I'm trying to, but I want to keep producing content. So I had an idea inspired by um, what's his face, the Thraben University guys, like daily MTG videos where he does like one match. So basically, I'm gonna be doing something similar. Um, that's the plan anyway. So we're gonna watch a replay of a match. And I'm gonna kind of walk through the replay and what I did. And the goal here is more to provide, or mostly to provide entertainment and some insight into my thought process, in a shorter form, so that one, like I don't have to sit down and like stream a whole league, and it also means that I can pick and choose matches that are sick. So, and maybe even some that I lose. I might include some that I lose, but primarily it's gonna be matches that I win to make myself look better. So the first one, well, first let's take a look at the list. This is the list I've been using lately. So no tendrils anywhere in the 75. Jace main deck and Collective Brutality main deck are the win cons. I'm testing a, where the fuck did it go? Fiery Islet in place of the second basic island. And then the sideboard looks relatively normal. I'm back on the Empty the Warrens mainly because I no longer have tendrils. So I wanted a third win con, and a win con that didn't involve using Doomsday, because you pretty much have to cast Doomsday to win with either of those two. So I'm just going to jump right in here. So this match was just a practice room game. I was just fucking around when I had a little bit of time. I think it was, yeah, it must have been this one. So let's get right in here. So game one. I've never tried recording something with Streamlabs before, so I don't even know where it's going to save. Hopefully this will all work out. All right, so I won the roll, and this hand is a turn one kill. So I'm going to keep this. My opponent kept 7, but since I'm on the play, I'm definitely keeping a turn 1. So not a lot to this game. I drew the nuts. I went off, and they didn't have any counter spells. So I killed them on turn 1. The downside to this is that I don't know what the fuck they're playing. There was no way to set up the pile so that I could like get a look at what they were doing. Short of like, so like one possibility would have been to play, make the last card on the bottom be a discard spell, which I guess I did, but then mill them and draw with Jace and hit them with discard so I can know what they're playing, and just hope that they didn't have a solution to Jace on their first turn, which they probably wouldn't, and I would at least get to see what they were playing. But on the off chance that they could, like, I don't know, play like fucking, I don't even know how they could have gotten rid of Jace on turn 1. So maybe that's better play just to try and get a look at their hand. But anyway, I kill them on turn 1, so that's always sick. So sideboarding for when you kill someone on turn 1, I think what I did was I cut one Doomsday, one Preordain, and one Limb Duel's Vault, and I brought in 3 Empty the Warrens. And the reason for that is, against a lot of the blue control decks, I would probably be bringing in Empty anyway. Empty is not something I would likely bring in against like prison decks, but it's actually not bad, because if you can just snap off a quick Empty, you can sometimes get in under some of their lock pieces. And so I felt like the only matches it was going to be bad against, the Empties were going to be bad against, actively bad, were combo decks, opposing combo decks. And so I bringing the Empties in kind of hedged my bets for game 2. So again, now I'm on the draw. I don't know what they're playing, but this hand is eminently keepable regardless. So I kind of take it slow, especially once I see this basic island again. And actually, so now that top deck Dark Rit, I actually have a turn 1 kill again. But because I don't know what they're playing, and they know what I'm playing, and they have a basic island untapped, it's likely that they have some counter magic. So I'm not gonna just jam the turn 1 here. This hand is in okay shape to try and play a longer game, so it definitely behooves me to play a little bit longer game. I'm gonna crack this open here. Oh, maybe I can't show the chat log. No, all right, whatever. So I drew another land, which is a good draw. I'm not sure why it's going so slow or why the replay is going so slow. But anyway, I'm gonna play this land and I'll crack. I think I get basic island. Yep, and brainstorm. So I'm just looking for interaction at this point because I know my game plan is going to be to try and find some interaction and then resolve experimental frenzy probably. Since at this point I'm kind of assuming they're on miracles, especially after I see the second basic island. So I've got two Thoughtseizes or two discard spells on top of my deck, and they're not pressuring me at all. They're just holding up mana. So my game plan here is to just play it slow and try and resolve experimental frenzy. So it's worth noting here that I could have played the Dark Writ. Let me think. 5, 4, 5, 6. So I could have played the Dark Writ and had enough mana to double duress or double discard and play frenzy on that turn. But I think that's a large investment of resources if they like losing the Dark Writ when I'm stuck on 2 lands is kind of a big deal, basically. And it probably just would have gotten flustered at that point, and then I wouldn't be able to cast either discard spell. So better to just lead off with a discard spell, and if they had nothing, I could still, like at that point, I would still be able to go pedal Dark Writ, duress, and still have enough mana for the frenzy if I wanted. So there's same things going on really here. Is they're just holding up mana, and I'm just sitting here waiting for an opening. So I cast LED. Now I'm going to Dark Writ. So they spell pierce this, which I'm like, fine, whatever. I have more cards in hand than them at this point, and I'm still not under any pressure, so I'm feeling all right. But I'm a little short on mana, which is putting me in kind of a tough spot. But I drew another land, so now I have enough mana to duress and resolve frenzy. And there's an interesting thing that happens here. So I'm going to get my mouse hand over this pause button. So I'm going to play this land, or I duress first. All right, so, shit, I didn't get a chance to, let's see if we can look. Okay, so they have Click, Jace, and Snapcaster Mage, and they have a Spell Pierce in the graveyard. Now, I have an LED out so I can play through the Spell Pierce, but I'm concerned that they could click me and take either really my Doomsday or my Frenzy here, but taking the Frenzy would be a much bigger deal. So I decide that it's probably in my interest to just go for it anyway. But you'll see here, let's see if I can just jump ahead one thing. So I go and I grab the basic swamp because I don't want to, they don't know my hand, so I don't want to let on that I have a Frenzy, or they might try to click me in response to the second Lotus Petal. Once I hit 4 mana, basically. So I play the Lotus Petal, and they actually sit on the second Lotus Petal a bit longer in the real game. But anyway, I cast Frenzy without casting the LED because I figured that they would be even more likely to LED in response, or to click in response to LED. So I figured I didn't need the second LED. If I could resolve Frenzy against their hand, I was going to be in a good enough position with just the 3 lands and the 1 LED. So they Spell Pierce, I crack the LED, and like that's all good. But now here's where this game goes south, because I actually lose this one despite resolving Frenzy from that position. So you'll see that I just fucking brick like a demon off of this Frenzy. So I upkeep Limdul's Vault. They counter it. I think it's an actual counter spell if I remember correctly. Yep. So then I Thoughtseize. Oh, I draw the Thoughtseize, right? And then I Dark Writ. Lines Eye Diamond, land, Dark Writ. I actually cast this Frenzy, which is a good play in that situation because like if I whiff this turn and then they draw a disenchant or something, or Council's Judgment, then I'm gonna lose. So playing the Frenzy was fine there because I had a ton of extra mana. There was another Frenzy right under it, which really sucked. And then when I cracked my fetch, I hit another land. So at this point, I've seen 3 Frenzies. And then I bricked on the land as well. And I think here they play a Mentor on this turn. And also they're drawing with Jace. Yep, so there's a Mentor, and they've been drawing with Jace. So I need to win in short order. I have my next turn, maybe one more turn, depending on the contents of their hand. So this is just going to take a hot minute here. So this is kind of the downside of Frenzy, is that like as strong of a card advantage engine as it is against these blue decks. So here I hit the 4th Experimental Frenzy, and I don't actually have any red mana on the field, which maybe makes my play of fetching the basic swamp earlier like a misplay, but I still think the chances of hitting, like striking out quite like that off the Frenzy are very low. So I don't think it was the incorrect play. But anyway, they put me under a ton of pressure here with the Mentor. And I actually think I don't get another turn. I think I hit 3 Frenzies and don't get another turn. And actually, they Surgical Doomsday here. And then yeah, so they kill me here. I don't get another turn from here. So we're gonna go to game 3. So yeah, I bricked really bad off that Frenzy. I think my play up to that point was very strong, and sneaking the Frenzy through all that counter magic and stuff was put me in a very good position to win. And then Variance fucking came and ate my little booty hole. Game 3 was a treat, quite something. So I kept this hand because of a couple reasons. It had the Brainstorm, so I could trade that Act on Impulse out for something, and it had multiple lands, which against these blue control decks, you really want to be, you really want to get to 4 lands, because that means that lets you like just throw frenzies at them. So if they have, if they have another, if they have multiple counter magic and you have multiple frenzies, you can just jam frenzies at them till they can't counter one anymore. But anyway, so I just started off with a Preordain, and I kept both these cards. Limduel's Vault is good because if you cast it on their end step and they feel they need to counter it, then you can sometimes tap them out in the early game and give yourself a little window and eat a counter spell. So let's see. I can't remember what I drew here. Another Preordain. So yep. So I'm gonna Brainstorm here so that I can then use the second, or potentially use the Preordain and cantrip again this turn. I definitely want to get rid of the Act on Impulse in my hand, and Doomsday in hand is actually not that great. Now since I have a lot of cantrips, I'm definitely... So I kept both on top there. I wanted to have the basic island, just in case they're playing back to basics. I hadn't seen it yet, but I wanted to maximize the number of lands I had that would untap under back to basics. I figured this game was going to be going kind of long anyway, and so I felt like having the extra mana was going to be more important, even though I already have 4 lands. And so they're still not putting me under any pressure. They're just holding up their counter magic. So I think I play the Fire Islet here. Yes. And then I Thoughtseize, and they show me that was like double Brainstorm. What was that? Double Brainstorm, Snapcaster, Narset. So I took the Spell Pierce here. I was hoping that they would tap out for Narset on their next turn and that would give me an opening to Limdual's Vault for a Frenzy and resolve it. As long as they didn't like draw a fucking Force Will or a Narset into a Force Will. But something a little more interesting and unexpected happened. So they crack their fetch. Here I'm thinking it's going to be Narset. Surprise, it's an Ashiok they drew off the top. So Ashiok is a problem. It makes it so that Doomsday blows and exiles my graveyard, so I can't even use cards in my graveyard to try and win with Doomsday. So Ashiok was kind of a big problem, but I still have what the fuck is it called? Empty the Warrens in my deck. I still have empties in my deck. I side them empties in versus miracles because it gives you like another angle of attack. And like as few as 6 goblins can sometimes be enough to end the game. So since I know what their draw was and they're tapped out, I know I can resolve a frenzy. So the game plan here is to Limdual's Vault into a frenzy, and then frenzy into empty. So we'll see how this game plan plays out. So they get their Ashiok and they do their Ashiok thing. I'm going to dismiss this hand in their grave. So this is my grave, but it's not really going to matter because Ashiok is going to exile it. Actually, maybe I'll pop open the exile pile here. This is taking a while. Oh wait, I've paused it. That would be why it's taking a while. I'm an idiot. Alright, so there's a bunch of exile cards. So here I Limdual's Vault, and I find the Frenzy and a Dark Grit. And so I realized that like the fetch lands, I can't search my library. I can crack them to shuffle. So they're not like awful with Frenzy because they give me another shot at a redraw, but I've already played a land this turn, so I can't play that one. So what's going to happen here is I'll draw this. I believe I play the land. So now they're looking for a solution to this experimental frenzy, which they don't find, but they've continued to mill me, and this is going to become important. So them milling me actually cleared out all of those cards that were bad off the frenzy, which was good. And so I'm just gonna now I play a whole shitload of spells. Frenzy draws me like an obscene number of cards this game. And this guy is also very important. I actually am able to resolve this Jace. And I rip their hand apart with multiple discard spells. I get to play out a second frenzy here, I think. Oh no, I preordained past it. And I mill with Jace. Oh no, I already milled with Jace. So I make like 38 goblins here, I think. A lot of fucking goblins. So, I know their hand has like Snapcaster and a Narset. So basically, if they don't have Terminus, I win. They had the fucking Terminus on top of their deck. So, as far as I know, that was a blind Terminus that they just fucking ripped. Maybe they brainstormed into it. I don't know. But anyway, they had the Terminus. But it's worth noting, I only have 8 cards left in my deck at this point. So, you will see that Jace can be a win con on his own. And Frenzy is a strong enough draw engine that you can sometimes fucking clear through your whole deck. So, even though they had a solution to empty the Warrens, and they made it Ashiok rendered Doomsday completely useless, I was still able to get through all the rest of the cards in my deck and win with Jace. And we'll see how that happens here. So this Ponder lets me see all the cards in my deck, and I actually messed up the order of them. If the Ponder goes off, you'll see. So I meant to draw the empty so I'd be able to Thought Season them and draw with Fire Islet, but I put them in the wrong order and I had to shuffle. And so I drew the Frenzy anyway, and I Thought Seized them and drew with Fire Islet. But as a little tense moment when I misclicked and put him in the wrong order. But anyway, so yeah, Jace is a viable win con on his own. No need for Doomsday. Pretty sick if you ask me, and a good example, especially this last game. I think a good example of kind of playing to your outs. Also, Ashiok is not a card that I've encountered before, but it seems like it's really bad news. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if you like this style of video, if there's anything I can do to make it a little better. Maybe even playing like one match live would be a little more interesting than going through a replay, but I thought this match was so sick that I wanted to do it. But I think this will give me a way to like produce some content, continue to produce some content despite my time constraints. So yeah, I hope you dig it. If you dig it, let me know. Like, subscribe, fucking all that stupid shit. Or don't, like, whatever.